Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, thanks
another episode of Platform Skate Podcast. We got Brad and Johnny. Johnny's here for our guest co-host position today. Thank you very much, Johnny.
Stoked. Yeah, thanks for having me. Stoked to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So let's start by going all the way back to where, how you got interested in skateboarding or how that all started.
Yeah, cool. So back to the beginning, it all started when I was born. No, I didn't start skating until I was like 12. But yeah, grew up in like Winkler, well, just outside Winkler, Schonsenfeld. And so, picked up like a Canadian Tire skateboard. I think it was like a Duke's skateboard. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Duke's.
Oh, yeah.
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 So, yeah, the classic. So that was my like first board. Skated for a bit. But the park that we had at the time was an indoor run by Eric Duick. A lot of guys know
Right.
Eric Duick. Yeah, he's started Christmas Park, and he like is the reason Winkler has a great outdoor park.
Just for interest's sake, before Christmas Park, Eric actually volunteered at our indoor park at the Old Campbell Soup.
Oh, yeah, no way.
Yeah, he was, I think he was living at the time at Circle Square Ranch.
Yes, yeah.
And he'd come out on one of the skate nights to help build ramps for us.
Yeah, Eric's a really good ramp builder.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so he'd come out and it was awesome having him. He built some good stuff for us there.
Yeah, man. So he's the reason that like I skate. But like before I started skating, I skated for a little bit and then got into BMX because everything was BMX in Winkler at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And so skated for a year, and then I was like, nah, BMX is way cooler. And so then I was like all about BMX till I was like 17, I think. And then I started skating again, started picking it up. Started by like just cruising on a longboard and or like a one of those land yachts. What are they called? The tugboat, like the little like cruise board things. It's just the tail.
Yeah.
And so started doing that, and I was like, man, skating is actually fun. And like I feel like me and my friends, we all would like watch skate videos to like get stoked on biking. Like we'd obviously watch bike videos, but we'd watch skate videos too, and everyone would be like, man, like if I could skate like I would like this, like I would quit biking because like skating just looks so cool.
Yeah.
You know? And so then just started skating when I was like 17 and started getting into it. And just never looked back from there.
Nice. So I also have BMX background. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact, I think the first time I met Eric was at the skate park in Lethbridge. And I was there with a bunch of bike dudes from Steinbach. Okay, yeah. And so I, like all my teenage years was BMX, and then I started skating in my late 20s. That's my excuse for sucking because I started so late.
Yeah.
But I was big into BMX even at the. Yeah, in fact, we used to have a little bit of trouble here with the local skate scene because I was known as a BMX guy, so I wasn't core.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that used to be like way more prominent. Hey, like you were a biker, you were a skater. Like people didn't really like jive so much. I feel like the scene is more like people just get stoked on each other.
Yeah,
now, like
for sure.
Yeah.
So Schonsenfeld. Was there places to skate there?
No, we had like this, there was like this like mani pad kind of thing at my school. Like there's like the one school that everyone went to in Schonsenfeld. And I think there's like 800 kids or something like that. I don't know. It's like just a country little spot. So there's like a sidewalk, and then there was like a fire exit and like a tiny little curb that like tapered off or whatever. So it was maybe like a 10 foot by 10 foot with like a 3 foot like run away from the like ollie down spot or whatever. You could, like carve down the sidewalk and like pop up, and so it was like that was it. That was the only thing that we had or whatever. Yeah. And so but Winkler is like 2 miles away, so you'd like put your skateboard on your bike, bike down the gravel road, and then you'd get to Winkler and you'd like find your. So it was pretty hard to skate because you'd like go to a spot and like there was like a spot, but most of them were like really worn out asphalt or whatever, and so it was like so crusty, like you'd like sprint and throw your board down, and then you lose all your speed right away and whatever. So, yeah. So it was like, it's pretty
especially
difficult.
that Duke board, eh?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, that thing retired so quickly. So like, yeah, I like skated that thing for like the winter in my basement when I was 12, when we had like an unfinished basement, and then like I stopped skating, and I don't even know where it went. Like it deteriorated into thin air or something. And then and then my first skateboard was I bought it off of, I don't even know who it was. I think it was stolen actually. But I bought this like Plan B Ryan Sheckler board. It was like this like dip look swirl colors. It was like blue. I had like black and orange trucks and like orange wheels, and like it was like, I felt like back then like it was like your board like matching was like cool. Maybe it's a little kid thing. Like,
Maybe, yeah.
But I was like, oh, this is sick. Like there's orange on the board. The wheels are orange. There's like orange in the truck. It's like, so I was like stoked. But yeah. And it was like 7.75 or an 8 or something like that. And yeah. And then I think when I like started skating again more seriously when I was like 17, then we had like a little skate shop open up called like Work Skate and Lifestyle.
Oh, okay.
It's like a super long name, but you know, not my pick. But it's all good.
Yeah.
It was like, it's the lifestyle, working, skating, you know? And so I think that my first like proper board that I was like, I'm going to the store, I'm buying this, was like a primitive like gold leaf, like gold board, and like some Thunder trucks and Spitfire wheels. And like, I've like switched setups so many times. But that's like what I ride for sure. It's
okay.
Like, well, for sure the like Thunders and the Spitfires, but
Yeah.
the Dex is pretty like whatever going back and forth. But yeah.
So when Christmas Park, did you start going there as a biker?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So Christmas Park was actually the warehouse. It was like a tarp shelter thing. And so like Eric was always changing the setups, but it was all that like masonite, like that wood, that softwood, and it was all just grass and then like plastic pallets. Yeah, it was plastic pallets, and he just had it like screwed onto that, and so the floor was like super soft, and then you'd have these like wood ramps and stuff like that, and it was all connected. They were like sweet. Like I don't know if you, there's not a lot of like content on the internet of it was tons of fun. Like that was like, I think when the like bike scene was like pretty big, guys would go and skate it. And there was like this like 5.5 foot spine, and then this like 9 foot quarter and a 6 foot quarter, and like dudes would like drop in and like boost on it, but like you could just drop in on the 9, hit the spine, and then like you just get up the 6 foot on the other side.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it was just so slow. Like so guys didn't really skate it too much, but yeah.
So what year are we talking for this? Because this is the old Christmas Park, right?
Yeah, so this was like probably 2011 to 2014, I think. That was like, or 2010 maybe. It might have been earlier than when I started going. But so that was like all BMX scene. And then when I graduated, I went and did Calling All Skaters, which is like a YWAM program, Youth with a Mission program. So I did a 6-month thing in Barcelona, which was like super rad, and I felt like that really opened my eyes to like skating. Like I didn't grow up skating, so like so many people my age, like the skate videos that they talk about like being inspired by and stuff like that, I feel like I just like, I'm like I just missed it. Like and so like, because for me, like when I started skating like more seriously and like meeting skaters and like seeing like, oh, like this culture's like for real, like this is awesome, you know, like this is so sweet. That's when like We Are Blood came out. And so that was like the big Ty Evans film, I think.
2014, 2013.
Yeah. And so, I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's like when I started like paying attention to like skating beyond like, I'm just going to the skate park for myself.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
When you did Calling All Skaters, that was around the time that we met?
Yeah, I think so.
Around the time? And you were at that time like skating, but also biking, and you weren't really like sold out to it.
Yeah, I hadn't
not in a bad way, but like, but when you came back from Calling All Skaters, then Brad skated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was kind of the switch over moment, because like, oh man, like when I went out to Barcelona, I was like, oh man, I would love to bring my bike, because like, well, it's like it has great BMX spots too. So everyone knows like all the spots in Barcelona, and so like I went out there and I was like, talking with the guys, and they were like, no, like, it doesn't really make sense. You won't really like jive with the crew. Like, if you're just like doing, like, there's a skate thing. Like, we want to skate. And so I was like, hey, I'll bring my skateboard. It's all good. And just my skateboard. And then I went out there, and I think it was like the second week, and I like ran, like I was just like going to the convenience store or something, and I ran into like 3 like BMX pros that were just like chilling at a spot. Like, they were just like down the block from where I was chilling, and I was just like, oh man, like I went up and talked to these guys, got a photo with them, and I was just like so crushed. I was like, oh man. And they were like, yo, you're just like, where's your bike? Like, go get it. Like, we'll go like ride street together. Like, we'll just hang out. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, never met a pro biker in my life. And then like, I don't have my bike. And I'm in Barcelona. And they were like, yo, you should come hang out with us. And I was like, I just have my skateboard. And they were like, oh, okay. So cool. See you later, I guess. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll see you never. But no, it's all good. It was tons of fun. It was like a big switchover moment for me. And so like leaving BMX, part of it for me was like it was like a faith journey thing. So like I grew up in a Christian household. I grew up going to church and stuff, to like a pretty like conservative Mennonite church and stuff. And so like, it was just like, you know, you got to wear the dress shoes, you got to like have the tie and the button up and stuff like that. And like, it was all super proper, got to like have your hair done. And so, that was just like my like upbringing. Going into high school, I was like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if I believe in this, you know, like I just like, whatever. I like grew up being taught it, but I'm just like, I don't know, like the things that I was seeing, the way that people live and stuff like that. A lot of it, I was just like, I don't really like agree with all of it. And so like, I don't know if like this is for me or whatever. But I remember going to like this like youth retreat, and there was this one speaker, and I don't even remember who it was. I don't even remember what the message was about. But I remember just feeling this feeling of like, you know, like I've never really like given like Christianity a shot for myself. And so like, I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna like try and see if like, I'm like, God, if you're real, like if you're actually gonna talk to me, if you're actually gonna have a relationship with me, then like I'm down. Like, obviously, like if there's a God who's all knowing, who loves us, and he's real, I'm pretty for that. That sounds sick. Yeah. But I was like, I was like, God, if you're real, like I want to hear from you, you know? And I was like, I want to follow you, but like, I want you to like prove that you're real. Like, I don't want it to just be this like book and like church, you know? Yeah. And like that was like the very first time that I felt this like very certain, like voice. And it's not like there's an audible voice, but it's like a speaking to your heart kind of thing. Anyways, it was like a speaking to the heart kind of thing. And I felt like I was like, hey, give up BMX. And this was when like BMX was like everything for me. It was like my identity. And that was probably grade 10, end of grade 10 or something like that, middle of grade 10. And it just like rocked me. I was just like, oh man, like it felt like the idea of giving up BMX. I was just like, my future's like blank. There's nothing. It's just emptiness. You know? Like with like who are my friends? Like high school's so social. Yeah. And so I was like, who are my friends? Like, where do I fit in? Like, what do I do? How do I have fun? Like, I don't understand any of that. But I was like, hey, if this is real, this is the first time I feel like I've heard God speak to me, something that like wasn't something I wanted to do or wanted to be, you know, and I wasn't thinking subconsciously like, man, you know, maybe I'm over BMX. Like maybe I'm done. You know? Right. Yeah. But yeah, so I was like, okay, like I'll go for it. And so like, I remember going home, and I remember like taking apart my BMX and just like giving my parts to like the homies. And I was just like, yeah, you guys can have it. And they're like, dude, you're like done. You're like, for real. Like you're quitting. And I was just like, well, like, I was like, I'm gonna see what's here. Like, I'm gonna see if it's real, for real. And so that was like the beginning of like my faith journey. And there's like a bunch of like really, really cool things that happened. That like ended up leading me to like working at the Edge skate park and stuff like that. And like going to YWAM and different things like that. But,
so was this before YWAM?
Yeah. So this was when I was like, 16, I think. Yeah. And I like quit BMX, and I like quit for like a year and a bit, I think. And I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna like open the Bible, New Testament, Jesus. I'm gonna see what like is about, you know, and started reading it and like finding out like some really like rad stuff. And I was like, oh man, like he doesn't just want to like have you like go to church. It's like, it's not religion, it's relationship. Like he's like, I'm invested in like in your life. It's not about like this big corporate like church thing, you know? Yeah. And that like changed everything for me. And so, and it was like really cool to see. And like, there was like moments where I was like seeing how like Jesus was like healing people, you know, and I was just like, oh man, like maybe like this is for real. And I felt like I was like, yeah, like this is for real or whatever, you know. And I'd like be at the skate park sometimes just like kind of kicking it or whatever. And like there's this one time when this dude like absolutely smoked his knee. And like he kind of knew that I was like the guy who like quit biking for like, you know, God stuff or whatever. And he like smoked his knee and he was like, Brad, like would you pray for me or whatever? And I was just like, for sure, like yeah, like I don't know what's gonna happen, but like I'm down, like yeah. And so I prayed for him, and I was just like, how's it feel? And he's like, dude, this is so weird. He's like, my knee has no pain, like at all.
Wow.
Like it's better. And I'm like, whoa, cool, like this is awesome, like this is for real, like it's. And so for me, that's like was some of the stuff, and there's like a bunch of stories like that like solidified it, where I was just like, okay, it's not a book, it's not like these just words on a page, you know, like there's like something here. And so, so that was my like kind of stepping away from BMX. But I like was always like, oh man, God, like BMX was so fun. Like it was such a good time. Yeah. And when I was in grade 12, this is like my last semester of grade 12. I had like very few classes, and, I'd like skipped out on the one class cause I was like going to work for my dad or something like that. And I got a call from the school, and they were like, hey, like someone dropped off this anonymous gift for you. And so like, do you want to come and like grab it? And I was just like, for sure, you're just trying to get me to the office. Yeah. Like there's not a, like I'm not falling for that. Like detention. Yeah. Bait and switch. Yeah.
The anonymous gift is a detention.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like I was like always late to my one class. I think I had like 50 something like lates or absences that she marked me for. And so I was like, oh no, I'm just in trouble. So I came in the next day, and I walk into the office, and I was like, hey, like they called and said someone like left something for me, and they were like, oh yeah, this is it. And there was a brand new like Fit Complete Pro BMX just like chilling on the wall, like just
really
against the wall. It was like this deadly bike, and I was just like, what? Like who brought it here? And they're like, we don't know. Like it was just random. They just said it was for you. And so I was like, what? Like I haven't like biked in a year. And so like I was like, I don't know what to do about this. Like I felt like
it's kind of weird to bring it to school too, eh?
Yeah, like so like why? Like why would you just like drop it off at school? But anyways, like I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, oh, maybe this is God saying like, you know, like go back to biking or whatever. And I was like, okay,
you passed the test.
Yeah, something like that, you know? And so I was like, okay, cool. Like so I started biking again, and it just didn't give me the same like just wasn't the same, you know? And so I was just like, oh man, like this is like, it's fun, but it's not the same. And I don't know, the lesson that I take away from it is just that like, it's just like it's like whatever your God is like whatever you like lean on the most heavily or whatever, you know? And so I was like, BMX was just in a place that I was just like, I was just doing whatever bikers were doing. Like, you know, it's like, oh, we're partying. And like, oh, we're smoking. Like, it was just like, I was like BMX dictated my life. And so I think there's so many positives in skateboarding and the skate scene and in biking and stuff like that. But it's when that activity just starts to dictate who you are. And it's like,
right.
It shapes you, not you shaping it, you know, which is like people make skateboarding. Skateboarding's not supposed to like make people, you know? But yeah, so got back into skating, ended up going to YWAM and just being like, oh yeah, skating's like so sick. And when I was leaving, I was like thinking about what I wanted to do. And I just felt like, I was like, man, I want to start like a skate club or whatever. And turns out they're like a dime a dozen, like skate clubs are everywhere or whatever. But I had this like revolutionary idea that I was like, I'm going to like have food, and we're going to like hang out, and we're going to like talk about life and just like be real and like create some sort of like sense of community, you know? Yeah. And this was right as I was coming back, I like linked up with Eric Duick, and he was hoping to take like the warehouse and turn it into Christmas Park. Basically, he just wanted to bring it like into a proper indoor rental space. And so I was like, dude, like, I was like, yeah, I want to do this like thing. I want to like hang out with homies and like have a night and like, and just like really like progress the scene and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, like progress it as in like grow it or like make a place that like people can like hang out. Yeah. Because in winter, it was like we would have a heater going inside the warehouse, and sometimes we'd get one of those like really big like tent heaters, get hauled in on a trailer or whatever. Yeah. We'd have it like, because then it'd be like a Saturday. we get that hauled in. People would all like chip in like 10 or $20 or whatever. And then we would just have that thing like just blasting warm or whatever. But then like the snow on top would like cause all this like, what's it called? Not residue, but
condensation.
Yeah, condensation.
Yeah,
it's like my brain's broken right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then it would be
It'd start raining.
And so then the whole park was like so slippery, so wet. So you could really only skate it in summer, but then in summer or ride it in summer, but then in summer it was like you wanted to be outside anyways. You didn't want to be in a tent.
Yeah.
So it was so sweaty in there in summer. So
that was still when it was under the canvas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so that was like 2015, and then we brought all the ramps over in the middle of winter, and we started off with like a quarter of the building. There was one that had there was like walls kind of quartering off the space, and so there was a heated space and an unheated space. And the only reason we got it for cheap was because we had this agreement that like we were gonna sheet the whole place, and we were gonna install the lights, and we were gonna put the ceiling on and get the insulation and stuff like that. And so like we were gonna make this whole place a heated space.
Right.
And so like most of the ramps in the beginning were just like chilling in the cold, and we had this little like quarter section, this one little run, and it was just like a quarter, and then like an A-frame, and then a little ledge on the wall. Yeah. And then we like over the like first winter we like made that place like up and running, just got it going, and then we just like kept running it for a good couple of years until I don't even remember what happened. But it was sick. We like put a foam pit in there and everything. Yeah. We like got in contact with Sky Zone, and the building, the guy who owned the building was like really rad. Actually, he's like, hey, if you're renting out the space, and like you don't have any like costs or any value or whatever, and you can't afford cause like skate park insurance is crazy. Like that's why skate parks don't really exist. Yeah. Or indoor parks anyways. Right. And so we like met with some advisor or consultant, and she was like, I will advise you to get insurance. She's like, I can't say anything else other than you should get insurance. That's the only option. And the guy who like owned the property, he was in that meeting, and he was like, I don't care. He was like, just send it. Maybe I shouldn't say that on the podcast, but he was like, no, he's like, everything has a risk. He was like, if they're going to sue you for your ramps, like a lawsuit costs more than it's going to cost to like build the skate park. So he was like, there's nothing there. So they can't sue me because it's just a rental property. Like it's not my business technically. And so maybe that's not 100% legit, but he was rad. So we got it like up and running, and it was tons of fun, like hanging out in the winter. And Sky Zone just sent us all their like bad foam. Wow. And so like every like month, or maybe it was every 2 months, we would like empty out all of the foam, sometimes more regularly, because guys would like do backflips or something in there, and they'd like lose their phone. Oh yeah. And then it was just like, hey, well, we're taking all the foam out. And but yeah, we'd take out all the foam, and we'd see like little like mice droppings or like baby mice or something like that. So we'd like clean up the foam. Yeah, the foam pit was like pretty crusty. Like it was the foam that like the health and safety guy at Sky Zone was like, this foam's no good. Like, it's got to go. Yeah. And we were like, this is the foam that we're going to use. Yeah. Like the stuff that's just.
It did the job, but it was dirty foam. Like,
oh, yeah.
We would do switchback threes into it, and then you're like smelling sweaty. But you're getting foam, like orange flakes.
Yeah, because they got so worn out that like when you'd land on them, they would like flake off on you.
Right.
And so like we would just like, it was a pretty regular by the end like thing to say, like when people were like skate the foam pit or like bike in the foam pit, we'd be like, just shower when you get home. Like make sure you shower, like you're gonna get a rash or something.
The interesting thing about the foam pit is back when we were running the indoor park at Campbell Soup, and Eric was a volunteer there. Yeah, our dream was to have a foam pit too. Yeah, except that I think that was definitely was before the days of Sky Zone and that. And so our idea of preparing for a foam pit was collecting old cushions from couches and stuff. Yeah, we like sick. we had underneath the Mini, one end of the Mini, we were like, it was just storage for all these cushions. We never did get enough to actually put the foam pit together, but that was the plan, was eventually we were going to have one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like considering that foam that you're using is probably meant for that, and our cushions not so much, I imagine it would have been even dirtier.
Yeah. And like, it's not like, it doesn't really stop you. Like the way those foam cushions are made, like you land upside down, and if you have enough cushions, like you're going to be like relatively okay. But like couch cushions, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Not totally the case. So it stops you from breaking a bone on impact, right? But like, yeah.
It seemed like a case with the foam pit, like for biking, way cooler than skating, but it's like one of those novelty things that you could totally not have it.
Yeah.
Because you only use it at like the last 2 minutes of a session.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think you have to have the ramp for it, right? We had like our 5 foots with like this like well, it wasn't a vert wall, but like just like the wall, the riding wall or whatever. So it was like at an angle. And you would have to like skate up it as like high as you could and then like try and push. And then you had this 4 foot, but then we also had like, must have been like 2 feet of deck before the foam pit.
Oh, okay.
And so you had to clear it.
Right.
Otherwise, like, cause sometimes guys would like go so slow that they would like case, especially on scooters. Like little kids would like try and like, just like toss something, and they would smoke the edge of the quarters deck, and then they would like fly forward and just like get so tossed.
Yeah.
And
it was like a 5 foot launch ramp into the foam pit.
Yeah. Like
okay.
You're hauling.
Yeah, it was like it was properly just like a quarter pipe that we just like cut down. Like it wasn't made to like boost you in. But we also only had like, I think we only had like as much as like a queen size mattress was the base, and then we didn't have enough space, so we built the walls up at a 45. And so there was actually like, there's a small square in the center that had like the depth.
Yeah.
But if you got tossed out to the end, you're going to hit like 2 feet of foam. And so you'd like smoke the wall kind of when you'd land. You'd be like, oh, that was tough. Like that was not a good. So yeah, it was pretty makeshift, but like, I don't know, man. Like those are some of the best things in life, right? Like when you just kind of like, it's just like, it's a passion project, and like, you don't have all the stuff to like make it proper, but you make it as proper as you can. And, and it's like, it's just super fun. So yeah, so that was good. That was 2015 on till, I don't even know, maybe 2016 on. 2016 to 2019, I think maybe. No, 2018. Maybe it was only 2 years. I don't know.
It did shut down 2019.
2019?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were still...
yeah, it ran one winter after I left, I think, after I went to...
Where it was like closed, but you had to have a key to get in, and...
Yeah.
We would,
I remember that.
Sneak in every so often.
Yeah.
But it was closed, 2019.
Yeah. R.I.P. Christmas Park.
Yeah, it's too bad. I know while it was open, I'd had a number of conversations with Eric just trying to figure out how to make it sustainable.
Yeah.
Like, you got to give Eric credit. He pumped a lot into that. He sacrificed a lot to make that place.
Absolutely.
And it's just too bad that he never was able to figure out a way to make it sustainable.
Yeah. Well, you like, it has to be subsidized somehow. Like you have to, like, cause, even the guy who was, who owned the property, he would like, eventually he had it set up to where he would give us he just didn't charge us for like the summer months.
Right.
And then when there was snow on the ground, then he charged us again. Yeah. And like that helped to some degree too. But the first while when like rent was just steady all through the year, and we just had like nobody was coming in, it was just like, it just stacks up way too hard.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, and that's before you even are like putting money aside to like rebuild ramps or like pay staff or have insurance, in case someone gets hurt. Yeah. Different things like that. Like we were just like paid the heat, paid the rent, could resheet some ramps sometimes. Yeah. And
But what a place for Winkler, right? Like
it was tons of fun.
A lot of kids grew up like with that being a solid memory.
Yeah, totally. That like Eric supported the scene, man, for like years. Like he carried that scene on his back. For sure. So like so much respect to him. Like he got me into biking and stuff. And and then so 2018, I think I like moved over a couple times, like right when I got back to Winkler. I think one of the guys from the Edge had reached out and been like, hey, like we have an open spot at the Edge, like if you want to come work. We heard you did like the YWAM thing. And so I was like, oh, maybe like the timing wasn't really right or whatever. And then they reached out a year or two later again. And I was like currently working for this like super rad dude who like owned a plumbing company. And he was a really sweet guy actually. And he was like, I'll like send you to school. I'll pay for your schooling and stuff like that. And he's like, I just want you to like get your ticket and like, he's like, I want, like, you do good work or you have a good work ethic or whatever. He was just like nice. He liked me. And so that was kind of my like 2 life path options.
Yeah.
And
Make money or be a missionary.
yeah, exactly. And so, yeah. And the catch to the other job is like one of them is like, hey, you can make bank, you know?
Yeah.
You just have to smell poop all the time.
Yeah.
And the other one was like, yeah, like you can skate and hang out with skaters, but you have to fundraise your own salary. So you have to like figure that out. And so as I kind of transitioned out of working in Winkler for this plumber, I started like driving up to the Edge, like going to see what Edge Club was about and stuff like that. Went on some road rages with Johnny, and then I think I went with the Edge guys one time. And this was like all while I was kind of like figuring out how to like start working there and start kind of like spreading awareness, I guess, or like networking with people, being like, oh yeah, like I'm like gonna start here. It's a nonprofit or whatever. But like doing like local mission stuff, I think already has like this like perspective that like some people don't really like understand, which is like fair enough, because you're like, oh, it's like missionary work or whatever. But they're like, but you're not, like, you live here, you're not a missionary. And I'm like, yeah, fine, you know, like that's like, you can use whatever word you want. But then when you add skateboarding in there, and it's like, oh, it's like skateboarding, you know, like youth work or whatever, then people are like, so do you just like we'll just donate to you so you can like skateboard? And I'm like,
yes,
no.
please.
Well, yes, but no, like, but yes, you know? And so, so that was like a whole other experience.
For sure.
And so, yeah. And I think in the beginning, I just like didn't take myself very seriously either. So I didn't know how to like take myself seriously to people who were like going to donate, but I'm not going to like front and like pretend to be doing something we're not doing. But I was like, I'm like, yeah, like this is what I'm doing. I think it's awesome. Like skateboarders are awesome. And I like want them to know that they're awesome, you know, and that they have value. And so, that kind of like switched over, and I was like, I would just rather skateboard than like make money. Like money doesn't really make me happy anyways. So having enough money to pay my bills makes me happy for sure. You know, that's a different story. But yeah, so moved over to Winnipeg.
Talk about the transition from like your scene in Winkler to like connecting more with the Winnipeg scene.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sure. So when I was skating in Winkler, when I came back from like YWAM, the like local shop, the Work Skate Shop, bless those dudes, they like hooked it up. They like sponsored me so hard. They gave me like a free board every month, and like I think it was like $100 shop credit like every month. Like, and I was like not very good at skateboarding at all. But like there wasn't a lot of dudes, and they wanted to like put merch on people, and they wanted to like, you know, say like look, we're like supporting the scene. Yeah. And they did. You know, to their end. I think that was the cause of it. Well, no, it's just a small scene out there. But yeah, like so in Winkler, I was like skating, and I was like, I'm sponsored by the shop, you know, like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like getting pretty good at skating. And then I like came over to Winnipeg, and I was just like, oh man, I don't know how to skateboard at all. Like, and I'd be watching like 14-year-old kids like skate handrails, and I was just like, oh, this is like a different, like, this is like for real. Like Green Apple was, who's it owned by? Why am I spacing right now?
Mike McDermott.
Yeah. Like, so there's like someone went pro from Winnipeg, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like the scene, like the scene is so core in Winnipeg. Like it's like so real. And so that changed like crazy for me. Cause skateboarding, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm like just having fun, you know, like learning tricks and whatever. But like the skate world is so small. And then I like started seeing dudes like skate handrails, and like it was just crazy. And so that like transition in the beginning, I think was a little bit weird for me. I was like, I don't know if I like fit here. It was kind of weird because I didn't like move to Winnipeg and start skating and meeting people. I like moved to Winnipeg and I started working at the skate park. And so like immediately I was like the new edge skate park guy. And so I don't know if that was the perception or if that was just like how I felt I was being perceived. But I think I was a little bit like, oh man, like, I don't know if I actually like fit here, you know, like, I don't know if I fit in the scene or if like people are down with me or whatever. But, I don't know. I just put in time and like started hanging out with people and like met so many like cool people that I was like, man, like I want to skate with you guys. Like, like this is awesome, you know? So that was like tons of fun.
Did you find that you started progressing more being in the scene where guys are that much better?
Yeah, I think that made a huge impact on like it just opens up your mind of what you think is possible.
Yeah.
And I'm a very visual learner, and so like with BMX, like I had like buddies who were like, "Oh man, like if this guy's here, you know, they're like, I can't sesh, like it's over for me. Like I just like I can't, like it gets into my head, you know."
Oh yeah.
And for me, I was like, I just want to ride with like the best dudes because I'm like then I can see what they do and I can like analyze it and then I can like learn or whatever. And so that was kind of like the case with coming to Winnipeg too.
Yeah.
You would see these dudes do all these crazy tricks and I was just like, hey, like how do you do that? Like what's whatever? And like and people were so nice about just being like, oh yeah, just like try this or do this or whatever.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, I can vouch for Brad. That's when you started working at the Edge. That's when he started cranking the skating up.
Yeah.
Weird for him to say that about himself, but from just seeing it, like there's being small town good, which you're talking about, getting hooked up, and then you get to like the skating scene and you're maybe even good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you need to have your mind expanded with just being around better people than you, and then clearly it works. You just do it.
You just learn.
You just learn because that's where the level's at. Like when you're working at the Edge and you got dudes flipping, going crazy. Like that's where the level's at.
Flip crooks on rails and stuff like that. You're just like, okay, like this is to another level that like I still don't understand. But yeah.
Which is also why it's important why we like don't separate kids from the older dudes, right? So that they can see. I mean, we were talking about it earlier today, right? About you know when they see what's possible, like the lights go on, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, and like I think there's like a lot of factors too of like they're like local celebrities to like little kids, you know, like the dudes who are like sponsored on skates or like Ride for 33 or whatever, like guys who are like really good, like they're like, oh man, like this is like they're like amazing, you know. But then you have a session together and they're just like chilling and they're just like hanging out and you're just like, oh, he's just like a person. Like I can talk to him. I can ask him for like trick tips or whatever. You get to know him and stuff. So yeah, it's cool, man. Winnipeg scene, no complaints.
So now you've been at the Edge for how long?
It'll be 3 years in February.
Yeah. And so what are some of the highlights of working there?
Oh man. Highlights of working at the Edge. So many highlights. Just getting to know everyone in Winnipeg that I've gotten to know, like being at the skate park. And it's like the Edge is the only indoor park, right? So it's like in like all of Manitoba. Yeah. And so it's like
in winter it just brings everybody together, right?
You just like you just see so many like different people. And so that's like a huge thing for me. That was like so fun. Getting to know the guys who work at the Edge or worked at the Edge. That's been really cool. It's different than any other job I've ever had for sure. But the highlights I would have to say after like meeting so many like new people would definitely be, my number one would be like taking kids on road rage. Like road rage for sure has to be the peak. Like it's just such a cool, it's such a cool experience. It's like really fun. Bringing these like young dudes along who like have never left Winnipeg or whatever. And then they're like, oh man, we're going on a proper skate trip right now, you know? And so like, and some people are like, I'm chilling. I'm like here for the, like, they're like so on vacation mode. Yeah. And they're like, soon as the flat prairies starts to like become rolling hills and you can start to see the mountains, you know, like their phones are out and they're like taking photos and they're like, oh, like, and they're like, yeah. So they're just so hyped. So that's really fun. Taking them to different skate spots and just like getting to know the younger generation, like the next generation of the skate scene.
There's nothing that builds relationship like doing a trip.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You're crammed in a van together.
Yeah.
And you're all sleeping together. People get sick of each other.
Yeah.
And like, it just becomes like real life, like together. I mean, like, it's not real life to like be skating, like, and traveling unless you're like a pro, but like, but you know what I mean? Like, you're like, you don't get a break. It's not like, hey, we're just hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
So like
that, if somebody's annoying, you're stuck with them.
Yeah. And there's no like, I'll just tolerate him for the next hour, you know? And then like, I'll leave. It's like, dude, like chill out, you know? Like, so no, that's always like super fun for me, is doing the road rage trip. Skate camps are really cool, really rewarding. They're a bit of a grind, like doing skate camps. We do skate camps for like all of June. Yeah. You're like on your feet and you're like holding kids up from falling. And you're just like doing that like hundreds of times with like a bunch of different kids. And so that's like pretty exhausting, but it's really cool. Like, over the last couple of years, we've had like definitely an influx of like girls coming to this, to the skate camps and stuff like that. And like, there was a couple weeks that we had, that we actually had like, it was like all girls and then like, well, almost all girls and then like 2 guys. And so it was like 10 girls at a skate camp and like 2 guys or whatever, which was like super rare, at least from my experience.
We actually find that with our skate camps that it attracts more girls as well.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the guys are like, I'm too cool. I don't know.
I don't need skate camp. I'll just go skate.
I'll just go skate. Yeah. Which is like, it works if that works for you. Yeah. But yeah, definitely like seeing people come in and, there was this one girl, I'll tell the story of this one girl who came in and she was this like pretty quiet girl. And she came in cause her brother actually wanted to go to skate camp, but he was a little nervous. He was a younger kid. And so she came with just to kind of like be there. Yeah. She showed up with her book. She was like chilling on a ledge, laying on her back. Like she was just reading, flipping pages by the end of the first day. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe she's not into it. But like with kids like that, I always like to be like, hey, I go up to them and like introduce myself and I'm like, hey, like when there's free skate, because like some of the kids, we get such a range, right? So like some of the kids just want to skate the park. They're like, I get to skate the edge all afternoon. Yeah. They're stoked. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want me to like teach them how to like do a new trick. They just want to do their thing. Other kids are like new to skateboarding. They're like, I don't know, like I'll just sit here, I guess, like, cause I can't do any of this stuff. And so I'm like, if there's anything you want to learn, come talk to me. Let's do it. Like we can learn how to drop in, learn how to ollie, learn how to turn, like whatever you want to do. Like that's what I'm here for, you know? And you get to see this kind of transformation over the week where these kids are like pretty unsure and pretty meek and pretty like, oh, like, I don't know. I don't really think I could do it. You know, like it's fine. I'll just wait. Like they're just like giving all the other kids like goes at trying to drop in. They don't really want to. And then like they get to this point where they take one like real slam. And after they've taken one real slam and they've cried and, you know, then they've been like, okay, that sucked, but I still want to do this. Like, and then it's like, and then I think it's like the fear is gone because they're like, well, like that was it. That was the worst case scenario. And then they believe in themselves. And then you start to see this like demeanor change where they're not so like meek and they're not so like worried. And they're like, no, like I got it. I can do this, you know? And then they start like, they go from being like, I can't do this to like, I can do this, you know? Like I got this, like, like this try, you know? And I'm like, oh, you're such a skateboarder now. Like you're like, oh, this try. And you say that for the next like 50 tries or whatever. Yeah. So, skate camps, as tiring as they are, it's like, that's also one of my like favorite things is just like seeing these kids like figure out skateboarding and like figure out how to believe in themselves and like know that they can do something that they couldn't do before, you know, and they can like take a slam and stuff like that. And I think like with other stuff, like with sports, I mean, sports are great. But I think with sports, like, there's so much like competitiveness or whatever. Like we have a basketball net in the edge and I noticed very quickly, like little kids will like it's all good vibes when they're skating. As soon as they play like a 3v3 game, now like people are beaking other people. It's like, oh, you suck. Like you missed that one shot. And I'm just like, hey, where'd the positivity go? You know? Yeah. But like they get stoked on themselves and get stoked on each other. And then they're just like encouraging each other and they're like hyping each other up and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's really cool to see these like kids who like don't know each other, that they're like, you're like my skate buddy now. Like we're going to go to Grom sessions together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, just get into it. And I love skateboarding. So like, I love seeing people fall in love with skateboarding. So
for sure.
It's really, it's a really cool, really privileged like place to be, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely peak moments. What else is going on in my life? Oh, I got a bunch of other stuff, but this is not really skate related. So I just bought a pottery wheel.
You bought a pottery wheel?
Yeah. Over the holidays. Cause I'm getting older. And so, well, I mean, you're probably gonna laugh, but I don't know, I'm 26 and I feel older. Like I don't feel like I can just like skate all the time.
Right.
And so like when you're like so stoked on like skating all the time, when you can't go skate all the time, then you're just like, oh man, like I just wish I hate being in pain, but I like, you go out to skate and then your body's in pain and then you're like fighting this loop.
It was crazy. I went over to Brad's house and he's got, what's that movie with, you would know.
Ghost?
Yeah, it's Ghost.
You guys did that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, who's the actors? And
Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore.
Yeah, I was Demi Moore. He's Patrick Swayze.
Nice.
The pottery stuff. Yeah, no, so.
Is there pictures or video of this?
I deleted it.
Oh.
Of the ghosting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think we have any content of it.
No, but he's it's good stuff.
Yeah, word. Thank you. Yeah,
pots and jars. And
yeah, made some mugs. Made up vase.
Yeah. So you were saying how you're looking for something outside of skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like, so my first question is why? Like, I imagine there's a lot of things that could have been thought of. Like, and I think of like a lot of skaters. Their idea is like, I don't know, printing T-shirts or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the pottery wheel thing kind of comes out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
So growing up, my mom was, she was like super artistic. And so she was always drawing she would always draw like portraits of like girls in dresses or different things, and she would make these like coloring books for kids.
Okay.
And then kids would like fill in the colors and stuff like that. And so we would always do art stuff with her. So art was always like my favorite thing growing up in high school, or growing up in school and into high school. Art class was like, that was my favorite. I never did pottery though, because I just didn't have the patience for it. But yeah, that's funny that you said screen printing, because I did screen printing for a little bit after I graduated. Me and my dad like split this like old screen print setup, and I printed shirts for a little bit, and then I was like tired of huffing fumes, so I was like, I'm gonna do something else. It's too wild. Like so much respect to like scam skate dudes who like those guys go hard, man. Like
they do.
And it's like screen printing is not a joke. Like it's not mellow at all. Like it's hard work. So yeah. But yeah, so getting older, and like I was just like, dude, I gotta find something else to do. And like, so drawing and stuff like that is always like fun, but I was like, it's all like, I don't know, like there's nothing that you like hold in the end, you know, you like made a picture and it's like on a piece of paper or whatever, but I'm like, it's just like, I want something like real, you know,
interesting
to like work with or whatever, and to like maneuver. And so
like the physical molding.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, like something in the like third dimension. Like I don't want to like I don't know. I did a lot of one-line drawings. That was like kind of my thing for like passing time or different things like that, or like a second hobby. So I was trying to do like more like art stuff, and I was doing like one-line drawings or whatever. It's where you just like put the pen down and you don't pick it up until it's finished. Yeah. And that was like tons of fun. But I was just like, I was just feeling kind of over it. Wanted to do something else.
Was that when you did the graphic coming out for me?
Yes, sir.
When you got over it?
Yeah, as soon as I was over it. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Here you go. Here's this thing. No. No, one-lines are pretty fun, but they're like pretty hard. And like you gotta like, it's hard to like envision something new. Like, so I always do these like one-line roses, these little like doodles of flowers or whatever when I'm just like kind of chilling or whatever. But it's hard to like come up with a new idea of something, because you have one pass to create, you know, the depth of like a face or something like that. And so if you mess it up, it's like on your finished product, if you're using like whatever, like proper like watercolor paper or whatever, like if the line is like a little bit off, now the whole shape of everything, like your perception of it through the like minimalist like line is like, it's gone. So it's just really hard. But pottery is like, I was looking to do something that was like fun and challenging and like had this like learning curve, and it was something that I like hadn't done before.
Okay.
And I just like I watched this one YouTuber. He's like, it started actually because I watched this one YouTuber. I think it's Florian Gadsby or something. And I probably butchered his name, but he's this potter from the UK, and bless him, but he has the most like boring, like monotone way of like talking over his videos. So I would watch his videos because like pottery's satisfying to watch. It was so monotone. I would watch his videos to fall asleep. And so, but like joke's on me, because now I bought a pottery wheel, you know? But yeah, I just like started like watching it, and I was like, man, it's like fascinating, because it's like, in a sense, it's like a one line, like you grab your clay and you pull, and like as you pull, you're like creating the shape of your like jar or whatever,
right.
you know? But it's like you have to be like certain, you have to be like steady. It has to be consistent. If you stop, you know, in one spot, you'll create like a thin spot, and it'll like ruin everything or whatever. And it's like, it's so like, to me, it's like almost meditative, if that's like the right word or whatever. But it's, because you like, you know, you get on the wheel, you throw the clay, and like to center it, you have to like really fight it. You have to like, you're like, I'm willing this into like position, you know? But then when you're working with it, clay is so like soft that you're like, you're trying to do things. You're trying to like make it move, and you're trying to do everything, but you have to do it like so certain. And so it's like really fun when you like don't know what you're doing. You're like, okay, like I think this is going to like work out like this or whatever. You have something in mind. And then even when it's not perfect, and like none of the stuff that I've made has been perfect, but it's been like, it's like so cool to look at and hold this like everyday object, like a coffee mug or whatever. And then you're like, whoa, like this was a clump of dirt. Like this is like nothing before. And like now it's a cup, like so cool. So that's been really satisfying. And it's like skating for me, in the sense that like when I'm skating, like I can't think about anything else, because you can't skate well if you're thinking about it. It's like you have to like, you have to imagine it, you have to like believe that it's going to happen, and like you have to like be fully committed to it, right? Otherwise like you're not going to like land your tricks. And I feel like pottery for me is like that, where I'm like I have to spend so much of my mental energy like imagining what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it, that like everything else just kind of like melts away. And so it's like, it's really nice.
I would have actually thought the opposite with pottery, is that you could like put on some music.
I'm sure that once you're good at it, like once it's second nature to you, that you can just like, you know, like make the clay and like pull the thing, and you're like production potters, like the skill is that they pull the same like diameter and the same height thing, like dozens of times to make sets of like mugs or cups or plates or whatever. So I think once you get to a skill level with it, that like it is second nature, then like you can just like throw on a podcast or watch TV or something like that. But yeah, for me, like, I don't know, I'm like an all or nothing person. So when I get into something, I'm just like so into it or whatever. So I've already been like, I'm gonna start a pottery business, and like, I'm gonna do this full time now. Like this is gonna be my thing or whatever. But I've really tried to like, have restraint and like, just let it be like a creative outlet, where I'm like, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna like do whatever, but I'm just gonna like create and like let everything kind of like melt away or whatever. And so, it's been sweet.
It sounds like it.
It's like a nice, I don't know, over the last couple of years, like, I mean, obviously like, you know, there's like all the COVID stuff and like life, and like, it's just been a crazy like couple of years for everybody. So over the holiday season, I was like, you know what, I'm going to like delete Instagram, and I'm on social media a lot, like with my work, 'cause I'm seeing like what people are up to, and what they're posting is a huge indicator to how people are doing. And so I'm like reaching out if people are like posting stuff that like seems like they're maybe not doing well or whatever. But Instagram has a really good way of like reeling you in with like reels and like, there's no pun intended, but like with all that stuff, like you end up on social media a ton. And so, and the other day I was like, not the other day, but like in December, I was like looking at my screen time and I was like, oh man, I'm averaging like 4 or 5 hours of like screen time a day on my phone. And I'm like, that's for sure not all productive. Like almost none of it is probably productive. And so I was like, man, like I think that like this is going to do like a huge number towards like benefiting my mental health, to just like take a break, to just like turn it off, you know, get away from it a bit. And so I did that. And while I did that, I like bought this like made in China pottery wheel. It's like this like really, it's kind of crappy. It like knocks and it's loud. So I listen to music when I make stuff, so it's not so annoying. But yeah, it's this like really small pottery wheel. It's like this big or whatever. It's really impractical, but I built a stand, so it's like sits nice. But yeah, so I just started doing that, and it's been really cool. So it's been fun. It's been, I mean, it's like served me in a season of like taking a break, stepping away. And so
yeah, for sure.
Focusing on,
sounds like it. That's awesome.
That. So yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah. So do you have to finish it in the oven, or do you have to send it to a kiln, or what?
No, I wish I could put it in the oven. That'd be sick. Yeah. No, so I go to a spot in the city. What's it called? It doesn't matter.
Clay oven.
I go to the clay oven
and have some buttered chicken.
Yeah, buttered chicken and samosas. And clay oven's just down the street from my spot right now. Oh man, I could spend all my money there. Their butter chicken's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I go to this place. Oh, it's called the Sounding Stone.
Okay.
And they're like a pottery like and clay wholesale like place. So they sell like a bunch of glazes. They sell wheels, and they used to have lessons and stuff like that before, you know, the pandemic. And so, so I went there, and they like fire it for you.
Oh yeah.
And then so you got to like fire it the first time, and then it's like I think it's like more fragile. So I just fired like a set of things for the first time. And then I'm going to go pick up glazes, and then I can like paint it on or whatever. And then it becomes like rock solid, because those glazes just like.
It goes back in for the glaze to harden?
Yeah. So the glaze goes on, and like glazes are mostly, from what I've understood, is like different minerals and stuff like that. So that's how you get the different colors or whatever.
Okay.
And then they kind of soak into the dry clay. And then when that absorbs and everything kind of binds, then you get this like super strong, piece of clay. Okay. And so, yeah, I'm excited to like see what I can make and stuff like that. But, so that's what I've been up to lately, as of like super lately. So yeah, it's been super fun.
What are some of the dreams or goals for the future coming up?
Yeah,
whatever.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know, dreams and goals. I try to hold that stuff pretty loosely. But yeah, like, I don't know, currently I'm like pretty happy in life. Like life is good. Me and my wife just moved into this like new 2-bedroom apartment. So our second bedroom's like our little art studio. She does a lot of painting and stuff. And so she'll be like painting on the weekend, and I'll be like making pottery, and it's just like really fun. We just bought a cat. And so we're just like, it's just us and our cat. So it's like kind of like chill. Yeah. But yeah, so like, life's good. Like working at the edge. I love working with skaters and stuff like that. I don't know how long that's going to like last for, but, but I'm like, I'm just going to keep, kind of rolling with the punches and stuff like that. I have a lot of goals and like dreams and aspirations and stuff like that. But I think like everything in life that you ever like planned, where you're like, I'm going to do this. Like sometimes you get to the same end result that you like hoped, but like it never goes the way that you
for sure
think it does. And so I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna have plans, but I'm just gonna like be open to like however things go is how they go. If there's an opportunity or a door that gets opened, maybe walk through it, maybe not. We'll see. Yeah. So yeah, definitely gonna keep working at the edge for now, and just keep living life. I think eventually I would like to do something outside of skateboarding. Well, okay, so like growing up in like Winkler, super small towns, like smaller perspective because your world is smaller, right?
Right.
And like, like growing up in the whole like Christian world, it's just like, oh yeah, people just need Jesus, like people just need Jesus or whatever. And I'm like, I think that's true. But I think moving to Winnipeg, I just realized like there's like a lot of practical ways that I could help with things. And something I've like found really like that I've been really motivated by is there's this ministry or this business in LA in California called Homeboy Industries. And I don't know, you've probably heard of it. Yeah. And so, they do a lot of really good work with like helping like ex-convicts like get jobs and get back into the workforce and like just like create a sustainable life that they can be like stoked on, Yeah. And like for me, I think that's like I love teaching people like how to like do like skateboard tricks or whatever. Like if they're like struggling with something and they're like, hey, like how can I like do this? You know, like I love like passing down that like little piece of like knowledge that like fast tracks somebody into like something that they're like going for, you know? And I feel like outside of skateboarding, like in the real world, like, I mean, first of all, I think that skateboarders are some of the most like determined people.
Yeah.
But like often it's so targeted to like what they're passionate about, which is like super fair, you know, like you're not going to be determined on something that you don't really like care about. But I'm like, man, like if you can give 200 tries to something just to land it once, you know, like you can do anything. Like you can literally do anything. Like, because like, I don't know, like people get bummed if they're like, you know, they're like shooting threes or whatever and they like miss 3 in a row. They're like, I suck at basketball, you know, and they like walk away from it. But like then they skateboard and it's just like, and they'll like try something for hours and they're like, like I got it, you know, and like they like, it's like the vision. It's like the, like, I believe in myself. Like I want this, you know, and like there's going to be such a good reward. And I'm like, man, like I would love to bring that into like people's like, to like their work life where, or like just like their life where it's just like, oh man, like I got my own place, you know, I'm like taking care of myself. And it's just like, or like I learned how to cook, you know, like adulting is hard. And like, it's hard enough when you have like a family who's like, hey, we're going to send groceries back with you, you know?
Yeah.
And we're going to like do this, or we're going to do that, or we're going to like, whatever. Like when you have all the things that it takes, it's still like hard to like be an adult and figure it out. And so if you have none of the safety nets, then it's like, seems impossible, you know? And so I'm like, man, like I would love to do something like that. So I think that's like long-term future goals. Yeah. Would be, cool. To like work with like possibly skaters or possibly not skaters or just like young adults into like figuring out how to like get a job and like push their life to the level that they want to push it to. You know? That's like long-term dreams. So I don't know how that's going to happen, but I currently have plans to go and like check out Homeboy Industries, like fly down to LA. That'd be awesome. Whenever it works, and like see if I can like kind of volunteer there for a week or two and just kind of see how the programs run, see what they do, see what works, see what we could apply to Winnipeg. Yeah. So that's a dream. Yeah, that's cool. It feels a little like larger than life right now. So I'm just like, I don't know like how it would unfold or what it would look like, but I'd be stoked. So if anyone's listening to this and they want to like fund it, let me know. Yeah, for sure. But no, just kidding. Yeah. What's something you're super proud of? My pottery. Dude, I don't know. Something that I'm super proud of. That's a great question.
Something he's super proud of.
Well, maybe my skate part when I put it out. I'm hoping to like put out a part this spring.
Oh, nice.
Worked on. So I've got a bunch of tricks that I'm like super. I don't know if I'm super proud of them, but I'm pretty proud of them. Like so that's how big spin. That's me doing a front lip. Yeah. Nice. Something I'm proud of. Yeah, I don't know. I'm proud of my skating, I think. I'm stoked on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It has come a long way. I'm trying to find you got a blunt kickflip in here.
Yeah, it's on a mini ramp in the middle of the woods.
Mini ramp in the middle of the woods. But what's the secret to blunt kickflips? Any kids watching, what's the secret?
Secret to blunt kickflips is putting your back foot in the far pocket. See that right there? Toe? Yeah. You got that 4K zoom, that Hawkeye there. For me anyways, it's a toe in the pocket. Like I would always try and do blunt flips and my board would like shoot out this way. Or just like hairball or whatever. And then because you're just like, you don't get that pop, right? And so like I would have my foot like stanced way over here to catch the flick of like the corner of the board. And then I started tucking my toe in the corner here to kind of like balance that pressure out. And then I'd pop and then I could get that flick and then it like just worked. And then it actually like wasn't. And now like I don't find that trick like, well, it's hard, but it's not like once you have it to where it like starts to flip, then you're like, I just got to jump on it now. Like exactly. Or, like, land balance in the blunt or whatever.
You must have a Johnny story there somewhere that you can share.
Oh goodness.
I got so many Johnny stories. It all starts in Regina. Just kidding. We won't talk
only
about
share
Regina.
the stories you share some of.
Yeah. Come on.
Keep some.
Spill.
Yeah. No. Let me see. The first time that I don't know if it was the first time I met Johnny, but like within some of the first times of meeting Johnny, we went on road rage together. And this was like when we were like both younger, and so this story is like pretty funny to me, but it's pretty crazy. But I don't know if I'm gonna be throwing you under the bus here a little bit, but
that's what I want. Yeah,
I do it to myself all the time.
So I don't know if Johnny coordinated this at all, actually. So I can't even say this for a fact, but somehow somebody got their hands on a little bottle rocket when we were on road rage.
Okay.
And Johnny, like, so this was when I was probably like 19 and Johnny was probably what, like 21 or 22, 23 maybe?
Something like that.
I don't know. But it was like, he was like, man, like when guys would fall asleep in the van, it would be hilarious when like guys would like, they'd shoot like a little firework into the like little wheel, like where people would hang their boards, like the little step of the side of the van or whatever. Yeah. And like wake them up or whatever. And so I think the idea was that they were going to prank the guys who were sleeping.
Prank the new guys.
Prank the new guys. And so so they did, but the firework just like launched. It like sent to the front of the van. It was like flying around. And like it was like, and then it just like went into the little like change spot in the front and like exploded like right in our faces. And it was like so crazy. And I was just like, I was so shocked. Like, I think that's the only time that like in my life that I've been like where you experience shock, like not like I was surprised. Like it was like, I was shocked. I was just like, I was yelling. I was like, who did this? Like, what is going on? And Johnny had this like big smile on his face and he was like, so like collected. And he was just like, yeah, that was my bad. Like, it was like, maybe shouldn't have let the guys do that. But like, and then he explained it and I was just like, from the result that like happened, I was like so surprised because it was like mellow vibes. And so it was like really like looking back, it's really funny to me.
Right. Yeah.
In the moment, I was just like,
yeah,
I was like, you guys are crazy. Like, what if this would have blown up in Johnny's face? Like he was driving, like it was, but
like, because I was in the know. So the story with that is, like I gave the guys the original idea years before. And then Brad and a couple other guys were new that year. So we're like, let's kind of like punk them a bit and come out. But the guy that had the fireworks and we lit it off in the like the step up well, so it's actually like kind of safe,
right? Yeah,
and it's just supposed to like bounce around in the well.
In
theory. This one didn't. But when the guys lit it off, like I obviously don't touch my phone when I drive, but my phone was over there. And like they gave me a heads up. They're like, "Hey, 5 minutes from now, we're gonna do this." So, so I wasn't just gonna swerve off.
Right.
I was in the know. Yeah. So we did try to take some safe precautions with it, but Brad wasn't, and the other new guys were.
Right.
And so when it went off, they also went off.
Just lost it.
Yeah. So I'll give a redemptive Johnny story, and this isn't really a story, but
sweet.
My favorite, so this will be my favorite quality about Johnny. It's not going to be a favorite story, but my favorite quality about Johnny is that he's really like, he's somebody who's pushed this idea of like, you just have to like accept your reality, or like you don't like don't give yourself excuses or whatever. Like,
right.
And I like, he would probably say it in a more like finessed way, or like you have like more of a slogan to it. But yeah, I think that's like actually pushed my skateboarding a lot in the last couple years. Because like we'll go out and we'd like do stuff and we'd go to spots and like we'd go to spots like I don't know how many times we've gone to spots where we like have no clips at the end.
Oh yeah.
And like that was like for people who like actually push their skateboarding, that's probably like pretty normal, where they're like, yeah, you go and like you don't come out with it. But like Johnny was like, yeah, like I'm gonna go. Like I was skating yesterday, I feel pretty sore. Like I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but like the weather's nice, and so we're gonna go and like we're gonna like put it out there. Like don't like I have excuses, but I'm not like, there's no excuses. Like just go do it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's been like a huge thing that's like pushed my skateboarding, and like it's also just like pushed a lot of my like personal growth to be like I have excuses, but I know that they're like excuses. And so if I ask myself, like, am I capable of like still trying, even though like there's an excuse, it's like, yeah, I am. I'm capable. I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's been like a huge personal like motivation or push from like just like hanging out with Johnny over the past couple of years. And so, yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's not totally a story, but I kind of threw you under the bus, so quality. I figured it.
No, that's redemptive for sure.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
You should talk to us about that part.
Oh,
I've been bugging them to put this out sooner than later. So.
Oh, okay.
I hate editing, and so well sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. But it, like for me, editing is like I have to like be feeling it, and like, as of lately, I just am not feeling it. But but I actually did, like, I went in and I started making an edit, and I think this is why I have kind of given up. So over the past couple of years, been working with like Ellis Thiessen, who used to work at The Edge, and with Johnny and some other guys to make a part, because I've never made a part. And I'm like, well, I'm not getting younger. And so I'm like, now's the time, I think. And so, yeah, trying to put together a part, and it's like so much harder than I ever thought. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think I have like, at best, I have like 2.5 minutes of footage, and I'm just like, this took me 2 years. Like, and now, like, the first stuff that I was getting, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to use it anymore, because I'm like, it's not like the same, like, I don't know if caliber is the word. I'm not like blowing people's minds with my tricks, but it's been fun. It's like taught me a lot. It's been, I think I'm going to be super stoked when I put it out, but I hate editing. So if somebody wants to edit all of my footage and make an edit for me, hit me up. You go ahead, go full speed. But yeah, I made like a mock edit, like a rough edit, and I like found a song and stuff like that. And I forgot to save it on Spotify, and I'm like the worst with like remembering artists or songs.
Oh, okay.
And so I made this rough edit, and I put the song in, and I was like stoked. And then my like iPad crashed, and it like dropped like all the like the whole thing was gone.
Oh no.
And I can't remember enough of the lyrics of the song to like Google it, and I've tried so many times, and I'm Googling the wrong lyrics, and like I'm remembering it wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just like haven't gone back to it, but hopefully going to be dropping it in spring. And I'm pretty stoked on it. Like there's a lot of stuff that like I like battled really hard for, and I don't jump. Like I can't jump. Like I ollie down the 5-stair at the edge, and like I'm going to try ollieing again, and like my knees just buckle, and I like fully like bottom out. Like so it's all mostly like ledge stuff. And different things like that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun making it. Stressed myself out a lot, way too much, because like I said, I'm like a pretty all or nothing person, and so then like you have this like vision of what it's gonna look like, you know, like the trick or
for sure,
or the spot or whatever, and then when it just doesn't, then it's like you go away being like, I landed the trick, but like, do I even care? Like it doesn't look like how I wanted or whatever, and so I've had to like. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think there's like, I look back at my like footage, and like I look at it in like chronological, like whatever order of saved in my like phone or whatever. And I can see like certain clips have this like, they have this like tension, this like stress where I was just like, oh man, like I'm working, I'm putting in work. Like I'm trying to take myself seriously or something, you know?
Yeah.
And then like over time I have like more clips that I think like they just don't look as serious, or they like, or maybe a little messier, and like I roll away laughing, just being like, oh, it was kind of ugly, but like also like stoked, like I got a clip,
I landed it.
Yeah, like streets hard, man, like especially in Winnipeg, like streets so hard, like dude, like I don't know how people skate so much Winnipeg street, it's insane. But
maybe the pottery wheel's helping with that too.
Yeah, taking some stress off. Yeah, punching clay. So so it's good. Yeah, it's a stress reliever. Yeah, so
awesome.
That's
well, we're looking forward to seeing the part for sure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to putting it out. I just got to get back into the editing.
Yeah.
So, so it'll be out there one day soon.
Well, thanks so much for coming out.
Yeah, man.
This is awesome.
This is my first time skating. If nobody's been to Portage to skate the spot, come skate the spot. It's really sweet.
Yeah.
Well, cheers. This was fun.